What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Dylan back here for another video, and today I'm here for a top 5 list. One of my favorite videos to make, our top 5 list, countdowns, whatever it be. And it's been a while since I made a top 5 list, so I am giving you guys one here today, and it is the top 5 playoff pretenders of 2018. And what does that mean? Well, Mitch made a video last year about the 2017 season and his top 5 playoff pretenders, and the criteria is basically this. The higher the ranking you are on this list means that you're a team that's getting noticed, and a lot of people are talking about them as, we could be looking at this team as a playoff team that could do some damage, or, you know, has that credibility to them. A team that looks like, oh, you know, they could sneak and surprise everybody, or at least make the playoffs and do something and get something rolling. But I don't think that they are. I don't think they're a team that's really good or really solid. They shouldn't be talked about as much as even making the playoffs, that kind of thing. For the record, all 5 of these teams could miss the playoffs. I think at least a couple of them will miss the playoffs, but all 5 of these teams could miss the playoffs, and I wouldn't be stunned because I'm calling them playoff pretenders. I don't think they're worthy of being in the playoffs. That's the biggest thing. Are they worthy of being in the playoffs? No. And we're going to go from, you know, least to most in terms of why I don't think that any of these teams should really be in the playoffs and why they are playoff pretenders and not going to be significant come playoff time, come January. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this list. Hope you guys enjoy it. Smash the like button. Comment below your 5 favorite teams, or 5 playoff pretender teams. Let's go ahead and get started. At number 5, I have the Tennessee Titans. And first off, no, it's not because I'm a Cowboys fan and I'm salty that they lost. I'm not even putting them on this list because I don't think they're a playoff contender. The Tennessee Titans, they're a really weird team to scout because every week you're going to ask yourself, are they a team that can put up, you know, 28 points or so, can be led by Marcus Mariota? Is their run game solid enough? Deion Lewis is a very good running back, but Derrick Henry really hasn't shown up. Can the defense be solid enough to win these big-time games? Or are they going to come out and really, you know, stink the place up and put up like 12 points or 9 points? They've had like 3 games this season where they've put up field goals as pretty much their entire game. Marcus Mariota is not the leader for the Tennessee Titans to get them into the playoffs. 4-4 is a really weird record that they have right now. The 6th seed in the AFC is really open. It's up for grabs, but the Texans are going to win that division. Pretty sure about it. And then it comes down to, you know, are the Jags still playing? I think the Colts can make a big surprise going forward with their schedule. I just don't think the Titans have enough oomph to get it done. And the reason they're number 5 is because I don't think that they're exactly like rated high by most people, you know, and they're in the lower spectrum, but 4-4 is still a 500 record, and they're still fighting to be a playoff team, and I just don't think they're going to get much done. I know they won a game against Kansas City last year, but I just don't see Mariota leading this team to success because he can have a good game every once in a while, but he's not very consistent, and his numbers are not very good compared to the rest of the quarterbacks in the NFL. So that being said, I just don't think the Titans are contenders whatsoever, and they're my number 5 playoff pretender. At number 4, I have the Miami Dolphins. Yeah, I'm sorry, dear Cat. It's just how it is. The thing is that the Miami Dolphins started out 3-0, and I was shocked. Everybody was shocked that this team was 3-0, you know, undefeated through the first 3 weeks of the season. And then they played the Patriots and got stomped. And then we kind of came back down to earth with the Dolphins. They're 5-4 right now, which is just a really strange record to look at. Like, it feels weird. Their offense clicks from one day to the next. It doesn't really connect 100% of the time. Brock Osweiler is still the quarterback. I have no idea what's going on with Ryan Tannehill. It feels strange to me. And the reason they're capitalizing is because I think that 6th seed is kind of up for grabs right now. And a lot of these teams are not very strong in that department. They're not very strong as a connected team. And just looking at this whole roster, I mean, there's some good players here, but it doesn't feel like there's a great superstar that leads this group. There doesn't feel like there's this leadership that's going to push them farther along. And yes, they have an over 500 record right now, but I think also the fact that they won their first 3 games really helped them. And last week, 13-6 against the Jets, it took a pick 6 to win the game. Like, it's just a really strange situation. It looks like a team that's picking up the scraps and getting victories when they need to, but when it comes to bigger teams, like obviously they played the Patriots earlier and they got whooped. when it comes to bigger teams in the NFL, and they're going to have to do it again a couple of times, they're going to play the Vikings later on in the season and a couple more teams. When they play those teams, they're not going to win. I can't trust them, and I just don't think they're going to be contending for anything going forward. The playoffs, they might make that 6th seed, if they get a couple of these games, but they're not a very strong team in my opinion. So the number 4 playoff pretender, Miami Dolphins. All right, my number 3 playoff pretender is the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals. They're 5-3 right now. I'm pretty sure. Number 3 and number 2 are the best records out of either of these two teams. But what I don't like about the Bengals is that I'm just not confident, not sold on what they've got. Plus, they've got a ton of injuries. They have a ton of injuries on the field. Joe Mixon's not healthy. Their offensive line is hurt. AJ Green is out for a couple of weeks. It feels like they really want to get this going, especially 5-3 and in that AFC North division where they can still chase Pittsburgh. I mean, unlikely, but they could still chase them. But it just doesn't look like this team is going to get it done. I know 5-3 for the first 8 weeks or 9 weeks is really, really solid for the first 8 games. You really want that, but I don't know, man. A lot of injuries are coming into fold. They play some really tough competition. They got to play the Saints on Sunday. Not an easy task for sure. Probably against the number 1 team in the NFL. They got to play the Steelers again. They got to play the Chargers. They got to play the Ravens, who are under them in terms of record, but still have a really good defense that can do well against them. And I know they beat the Ravens before, but it's still going to be difficult for this team to get it done. And even if they made the playoffs, they don't win playoff games. Marvin Lewis does not know how to win playoff games, and that's the definition of a playoff pretender. You can get in the playoffs as many times as you want, but if you cannot get it done in the playoffs, who cares? So, even if this team makes the playoffs, I don't think they're getting past the wild card round. They're not really a solid team. Their injuries are piling up, and it's not something I'm really sold on as a whole. And I think there's better teams out there in the AFC that can get it done. So, number 3 playoff pretender, Cincinnati Bengals. All right, my number 2 playoff pretender for 2018 is the Washington Redskins, the other 5-3 team. I feel like some Redskins fans are going to hate on the fact that I put them on this list, but I have a couple of reasons. First off, I think Philadelphia is going to be a stronger team in the second half of the season. They were 4-4. They did lose some games that maybe they should have won. That Titans game in particular was a game that they probably should have won, but either way, I think they're going to be a stronger team in the second half, especially with the addition of Golden Tate. The Redskins, 5-2 coming into last week. Things were looking high, but we saw what happened against Atlanta. They could not stop them whatsoever. The defense that I was really liking was not very good. The reason they got Clinton Dix is because they needed to beef up that secondary, because their defensive line's pretty solid, but they needed to beef up that secondary, and they still got exposed quite a bit. AP's looking great. I love AP, but Alex Smith is not a guy that I'm really trusting come playoff time. Of course, his time in Kansas City, what did he really do? You know what I'm saying? So, in this scenario, I like AP. I like guys on the Redskins, even though I'm a Cowboys fan, but when the NFC East is one of the weaker divisions out there, probably the weakest division right now, maybe, but one of the weaker divisions in the NFL, and saying a team that's, near the top is really a strong contender is quite an exaggeration. I don't think this is a team that I'm going to be scared at looking into the playoffs, and a lot of people were talking about them because they were ranked near the top 10 coming into the last week. People were looking like they were liking what they were seeing, but in this scenario, I just don't like what they've got. And going forward, as the season goes by, I think they're going to make big mistakes in clutch games. In games that they probably should get the win, they might make a big mistake in the fourth quarter, and the other team's going to capitalize. It's not a good thing. And also, the Redskins are a team that, they should win games, but they lose them, and then they should, probably lose games that they're not favored in, but they still win. So, it's a weird scenario for the Redskins, but I got to put them at number 2 just because I don't know. I don't think of them as a playoff contender. So number 2, Washington Redskins. And my number 1 2018 playoff pretender is the Green Bay Packers. I really don't like when people rank the Green Bay Packers so dang highly because Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback, and he can lead them to the Super Bowl. It happens every year. Aaron Rodgers is on the team, so therefore, the Green Bay Packers should be looked at as playoff contenders. No, that's not the case. There's 21 other guys that have to play on this team. 10 guys with him on the offensive side and 11 guys on defense. And as a collective unit, they're a pretty weak team. On the offensive side of the ball, I cannot trust Williams and Jones to get it done. You know, I don't like either of them that particularly well. Their offensive line does have some of the best in the game. Bakhtiari, for example, I do like them, but their receiver core, I mean, Devontae Adams is a top 15 receiver. Randall Cobb can get it done, but now you got to rely on Valdez-Scantling. What is he going to get done? I like him, but there's not a whole lot of great strength, and there's not a lot of veteran leadership in that wide receiver group. Defensive side, Blake Martinez is good, but there's still a lot of weaknesses to get through. And we saw it in the game against the Patriots. We were looking at, oh, this is 12 versus 12. But we really needed to be looking at the Packers versus the Patriots. And what we saw was that the Patriots were clearly the better team, and the Packers were making bad decisions at the worst possible times. I get it. Aaron Rodgers wants to win, but he can't be blaming his own teammates. This is not how a leader works. And the Green Bay Packers team will always try to sell you what they don't have. Like, here, I have this really nice car. You know, a car that's really expensive, but when you go up there and try to get it from him, he's like, oh, yeah, I sold it to a different guy. But he never had the car. He never had this car, and that's what the Green Bay Packers are having right now. They're trying to sell me this image that they're a playoff contender, but they never really have the oomph to get it done. And again, a lot of other teams, including teams in their own division, are stronger. They're quite stronger. The Bears are going to do very well. They might win the division. The Vikings are still doing quite well, and I think they could win the division or at least be a wild card team. So I'm not liking what the Packers are putting down. I think going forward, they're going to have to do a lot of things to sell me on this team. And even if they made the playoffs, by some miracle they get the number 6 seed or whatnot, I don't think they're beating whoever they play in the wild card round. So my number 1 playoff pretender for 2018 is the Green Bay Packers. That's going to do it for me, guys. If you enjoyed the video, smash the like button. Comment below your thoughts on this list. Did you agree with the list? If you didn't, if you thought a team that was on this list that shouldn't have been on this list, comment below. You know, be respectful. We did that last time. Thank you guys for that. If there was a team I didn't say that you think deserves to be on this list, comment that below as well. Subscribe to The Bottom Line View. More NFL content on the way, of course. No live streams this week. We're both very busy on Sunday, but we will be recapping the Sunday Night Football matchup between the Cowboys and the Eagles. So much fun for me. We will be doing that, and then the Monday Night Football recap as well for the Giants and the 49ers. So more football content is coming to The Bottom Line View very shortly. It's Dylan. Peace out, guys.